Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today I am making some of our family's recipe of the crescent rolls. We make these for the holidays. I like to just keep them in the freezer for lunches, to go with soup, things like that. Not sure if this recipe comes from a recipe book. It's just something that we all use in the family. But in my mixer I have 2 cups of flour. I had some whole wheat flour that I wanted to use up, so I did half of that. So it's 1 cup all-purpose and then 1 cup of the whole wheat. And then we add another 2 cups after we get this thing going here. Then there's a half a cup of melted butter, 2 eggs, 2 packets of active dry yeast. I just use the loose kind, so it amounts to 2 1/4 teaspoons per packet, so 4 teaspoons and a half of the active dry yeast in here. And then 3/4 of a cup of really warm water, about 120 to 130 degrees, and then a half cup sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And then you just mix this up until mostly a little bit of a sticky dough kind of forms, and then you add the last 2 cups of flour. You can hand mix it or you knead it a little bit. I just use the piggy tail shaped hook on my stand mixer just to whip it up a little bit easier. And then we let that sit in a bowl for an hour or 2 until it rises. And then I'll show you how I roll everything out and cut up the crescent rolls. We just took the dough out of the mixing bowl. It doesn't take very long when you use the little piggy hook. And then we just pop it into a bowl. I don't usually grease it. You probably could if you wanted to. And we just cover it with a towel, loose towel, and then put it in a warmish place and let it double in size. So maybe an hour or 2. And then I'll show you how I roll it out. All right, so our dough is risen. We're gonna take this dough ball and divide it into 2. So I'm gonna get a little bit of flour on my countertop. Oh, and this is when you wanna preheat your oven to 350, which I have not done, so I should probably do that. I usually bake 1 sheet at a time. The dough doesn't stick too bad to the bowl. Just a little bit. I didn't spray it with any oil or anything. Alright, so I'm just gonna cut this till it's about half. And you just make this into a little ball. And we're gonna roll it out 1/4 of an inch thick. I'm not usually very picky on what my rolls look like, so I really don't care if my circle is not perfect. I just kind of roll it out. They're just gonna be eaten anyway, right? They don't need to be fabulous looking. Alright, so I roll it out. And this, again, this is half whole wheat and half all-purpose flour. Usually we make them just with all-purpose, but I had some whole wheat that I wanted to use up. You can also use einkorn. I have used einkorn in the past. Just doesn't rise as much, so you just have to be careful not to use 100% einkorn, I think, for this recipe. Alright, I like my rolls a little bit thicker, so I'll probably not roll this super duper thin. Not a perfect circle. Close enough. Good enough. Let me move this back a little bit. There we go. All right, so then you want to get, how many? Is it 16? I forget. All I know is you make a crust, and then you want to get about 4 slices in each section. Or you can make really big rolls like this. They usually puff up quite a bit in the oven, so we just do them this size, divide these in half. Did I do them all? Looks good. All right. Before you cut this, you can also take a little bit of room temperature butter and smear it all around, but I don't. Let's reduce some of the calories, so I don't bother with that, but that's what's in the recipe. And then you just take the larger end and then you roll it to the smallest end. And then you just put it on, mine's a nonstick baking sheet. And you just repeat this until they're all gone. And then of course you do the other half the same way if you want the crescent shape. And then I don't let these rise anymore. You just put them right in the oven once the oven comes up to temperature and bake them off. So I didn't realize my video cuts out here in just a moment. So I just finished up rolling the rest of these crescent rolls and popped them right into the oven and baked them at 350 for 10 minutes. And then I'll show you, you want to put the seam side down where the smallest end is, down so it doesn't get too pointy. These are the finished rolls fresh out of the oven. We bake them for 10 minutes at 350 degrees. Usually look for a little bit of golden brownness on the top. These don't have that. I didn't add that extra layer of butter after I rolled out the dough. You may do that. It's up to you. They're a little golden brown on the bottom though. These are absolutely delicious. They have that slight bit of sweetness that I feel like every other roll recipe that I've tried is missing. And they're slightly chewy, fantastic. They're easy to throw into the freezer and then defrost on the countertop or pop right into the oven to thaw out for a meal. They're fantastic. And like I said, they make like 32 of them in this single recipe. And of course you could divide that in half if you don't want to use that much flour or make that many. But absolutely great. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to look out for my weekly dinner videos and recipe videos and other videos, whatever I come up with along the way. And